this was taken certainly in one of the Apollo missions. I was 10 years old when Apollo 11 landed on the moon. I was watching it in Korea. I vividly still remember it in black and white TV in that summer of 1969. I certainly didn't comprehend what was going on, but I knew it was very special, something very special. And I think God probably planted a seed in me from watching that moon landing. I'm not trying to rationalize this, since I'm working at NASA, that God led me this way. But I truly think there was something planted in me back then, because everybody told me that you should go to medical school. And I thought I would go to medical school until second year of high school. So I was gearing up to go to medical school, Seoul Medical School. But I'm terrible in memorizing. So I'm not good at memorizing things. So when there was a mock-up, the national test, when I was in high school, we have the national test before college entrance exam. So I really got a low score because I really messed up in all history and all these other things. I did well in physics and math and stuff, but I really screwed up in history. So I was not good enough to go to at Seoul National University Medical School. But I think looking back, this is the life that I was designed to have. If I had excelled and gone into medical school, I don't know whether that was my will and my parents' will, or that was the plan that God had for me. And I truly believe this is the life that God has prepared for me, and I'm glad He led me through this. So the reason why I'm showing this is partly that, how I ended up at NASA, but this took tremendous leadership. You remember Kennedy proclaimed that, challenged the nation with that audacious goal that within next decade, we will land a human on the moon. We had nothing back then. We had to even steal scientists and rocket scientists, really rocket scientists, from Germany, right? Von Braun, really arrogant person, as I heard, but brilliant. So the U.S. had nothing back then, started from ground zero, and truly within a decade, they landed 2 human beings on the moon. So it is a form of, it's a manifestation of secular leadership, strong resolve and steadfast effort to get there. So think about that. But this is what I do. You all probably think NASA is just a space agency. It sure is. It is space agency since 1958 when we were founded. But back in 1915, so almost 100 years ago, this country had such a foresight to establish what's called National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, in acronym in short, NACA, not NASA. And it was all about aeronautics. That's when people started flying and killing themselves, and they didn't know what they were doing. So trying to put a wing and try to flip. And all those things. So learning how to fly was the big deal. So this country set that up, and that is the predecessor of NASA. So aeronautics research has, in this country, over 100 years, long very rich history. So I'm very glad and humbled that I am leading that rich heritage and history within NASA. So we work on vehicles. Certainly, you look at the funky-looking airplanes there. So we don't deal with two-wheel. That's boring. We work on exciting new configurations and way out there kind of concept. And I think it says later. And aviation safety also very important. And air traffic management. All these yellow stuff here, these are all scheduled revenue-generating flight. I had a movie, but if we have time, I'll show you. But horrendous system, very complex, very vast system that we deal with. Because this country is so huge that air travel is essential. And then we integrate some of these research and try to transfer technologies to companies like Boeing and GE and so on and so forth. So rather than, this will be a commercial that I'm going to show you, commercial about NASA aeronautics. And rather than me keep talking, because this is not the subject of this morning's discussion, here's a, we call aeronautics trailer. So very short video. Next time, remember us. And, everything that has gone into modern airplanes for that 100 years of research, all the technologies that we have worked on from NASA are in there. So we call it DNA of modern aircraft, both civil and military side as well. So it's very exciting. For 23 years, I've never felt getting up in the morning, geez, I have to go to work again. I never felt that way because it's such a blessing that I ended up here. So, another disclaimer. You see my eyes are really red, and it's not because I drank too much last night. And it's not because I watched a video too much last night. I've been wearing contact lens for some 30-some-odd years, and finally my eyes are telling me that, hey, get rid of that stuff. So I'm developing a little bit of allergy with contact lenses. So that's the reason, and so don't be afraid of shaking hand with me. It's not contagious or anything. Okay, I'm going to walk through some about secular leadership before we get to Christian leadership. And again, I'm a little bit fearful to talk about this in front of a bunch of business majors here, but we'll have discussion. Correct me if my perspective is not correct.